Planeteers, it's me, Antoinette, founder of the nonprofit Cora, welcoming you all to the second episode of my hashtag Invested in You Sustainability series. For our first episode during the 99 BPI Investment Day, we talked about finding your life's purpose. Today, we bring you episode 2, where we get to talk about sustainable living practices that can actually save us money. Because saving people and the planet shouldn't have to cost us, but should empower us all in building a better, healthier, more resilient, and just future together. Now, have you ever wondered if the things we do every day can actually make a difference? Well, I think we all do wonder that, and we've been heard. So, key experts did the research, looked at the latest data, and found out that there are 5 key lifestyle areas that anyone, anywhere can take action to make a positive impact. Introducing the Anatomy of Action. Now, before anything else, I can't stress enough that more than anything, while our collective actions are powerful, true change comes from systemic change and leadership from governments. And of course, business unusual from the private sector, global brands, and corporations. Now, according to the Carbon Majors report, just 100 companies have been the source of more than 70% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions since 1988. Yes, 70%. So while our individual actions do matter, the choices that we make each day also have lasting impacts on the pathways forward for humanity, for each of our nations, for our community. Who we vote for, the policies we support, the products we invest our earnings into, the services that we subscribe to. These all matter in the great web of life and affect us all whether we realize it or not. The Anatomy of Action reveals that the future is made up of the cumulative outcomes of our actions today. Each of us, citizen designers with the power to effect positive change through our everyday actions, no matter who we are or where we live. The Anatomy of Action was born out of a partnership project between the United Nations Environment Program and the UN School of Disruptive Design to define and communicate the most positively impactful actions any one of us can take to add to the global movement around sustainable lifestyles to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, by making individual changes to what we eat, what we buy, how we invest our money, how we move, and what we aspire to, we can and we will change what and how our world works. Now, there are thousands of possibilities, and they've combed through them all. The data showed that if enough people make changes in a few key areas, the global momentum of our collective actions will address the pressing social and environmental issues around us. Now, the collected data was synthesized into a list of 15 everyday actions across 5 lifestyle themes to share what does and what does not make a difference in the world, and how we can best focus our collective and diverse energies on making change happen through the lives we lead each day. These 5 lifestyle themes can be best remembered by using our hands. Actually, one hand. Food, stuff, move, money, fun. Can you do that with me real quick? Food, stuff, move, money, and fun. Now, I look forward to going through each of these topics with you in the next couple of episodes. For today, we begin with stuff, move, and money, because episode 2, once again, is about sustainable living practices that can actually save us money. The Anatomy of Action, stuff. Now, when we talk about stuff, that's this finger right here, there are 3 key areas of action. We've got beyond buying, fashion slowdown, and ditching disposables. Now, let's begin with beyond buying. Now, this is something pretty logical. Now, consider what you need and buy products that will last longer, that can be used multiple times, and that are intended to be in the economy for as long as possible before being remanufactured. Now, the circular economy is all about meeting our needs better with less stuff. Hence, the things we buy and use in our daily lives should have more value and last longer, reduce disposability, and maximize material recapture. That's, of course, its capability to be recycled or upcycled into something else at the end of life. Now, in some parts of the world, this is already a way of life, or more often than not, a tradition passed down through generations. Sustainability has always been a part of the natural way of living, but consumerism in recent years has changed our natural positive lifestyles that used to actually be a part of the way we lived anyway from the start. Now, while we wait for all producers of today and producers of goods, services, packaging to adopt these new or old approaches, consumers of all walks of life, which includes us, can be more conscious of what we need, what we are buying, and how we value the things that fill our lives. Now, increasing the usable life by repairing, sharing, reselling, and reusing helps reduce the need for new goods. And I feel that a lot of entrepreneurial people out there will actually already agree with this. If you can, invest in goods with longer warranties and design durability, and find companies that offer buyback and repair schemes for their products, along with swapping and sharing things you need. There are companies across the world like Patagonia that actually send a truck around the entire United States across the entire year just to repair their products for free. And that's just another incredible example of the capability of the private sector. Now, for us, I guess some tips that we can give according to the anatomy of action are, number one, consider what you really need and what impacts these products have on the planet before buying stuff. Reduce what you buy and, of course, reuse all the way. Number two, continue or start sharing and swapping things like appliances, tools, clothes, talents, and services, believe it or not. Number three, for new purchases, look into how you can get what you need via a service or a product that lasts longer and has been made sustainably. Next, find things with extended warranties and that can be repaired, and make sure also that you do make the effort to repair things, whether it's a shirt, a sweater, your jeans, or even electrical appliances and other products. Now, next, buy beautiful secondhand things and find new homes for things you no longer want. I know a lot of friends that do this. I do this myself, and it's actually a wonderful way to find unique items as well. Now, for technologies and gadgets, use them longer. Repair and donate them, and ensure you find a reliable recycler at the end of their life. Now, for me personally, it actually takes me a while to replace my gadgets. My friends and the people around me actually know that. And from the perspective of a nonprofit, we're actually really grateful to have the support of different groups that actually, at the end of life, would even donate some of their really, really good technological equipment that they actually have to replace, but is still viable and workable. Next, delete old emails and other files stored on the cloud. Now, a lot of people don't realize that servers use a lot of energy. So, of course, anything that's not needed or unnecessary can actually be deleted permanently. You can also offer your technical skills and talents to extend product use, help others, and build a sense of community. And of course, recommend and buy from companies that provide spare parts to repair, that offer take-back services, or that use recycled materials in production. We actually see a lot of that nowadays, things being made from items that could have potentially gone to waste, and of course, broken items or items that can't be repaired turned into other beautiful products. Hence, moving forward to our next important topic or key action for stuff. Fashion slowdown. Now, when we talk about this, the focus of the anatomy of action for this is really to buy fewer and better clothes and to stay away from fast fashion that mass produces at the cost of environmental and human injustice. Now, to be honest, what I'm wearing right now, you may find old videos, but I've actually had this since my teenage years, I would say. So I've had this top for over 25 years. I'm not a big shopper, but of course I have received a lot of items as well. And I've tried to do my very best and my part in donating, giving away, and even selling or reselling items that I do not need anymore. But of course, I keep some favorite items like this one right here. And it's really important to note as well that fashion, especially nowadays, is a hyper-fast industry and in fact, scary enough, is the second most polluting industry worldwide. It impacts nearly everyone on the planet in some way. We all wear clothes, not only for functionality, but also to express a certain style, identity, and personality. But many of us also don't know that the fast fashion phenomenon exacerbates labor conditions and product quality pushed by brands to make inventory on a weekly basis. Now, we can avoid contributing to this by breaking the vicious cycle perpetuated by constantly changing clothes by finding responsible brands that support the betterment of workers and the environment, or by buying secondhand. Now, here are some wonderful tips from the Anatomy of Action. 1. Use your consumer power to buy better clothes and to increase the availability of more sustainable fashion options. Next, celebrate being unique. Buy vintage, redesign old clothes, create a core basic or capsule wardrobe, and be bold in your fashion choices. Next, think long term. Buy quality clothes that last and take care of them. Don't forget that part. Today's new pieces are tomorrow's vintage treasures. Another tip, give your clothes a second chance. Share, reuse, repair, recycle, sell, and donate high-quality fashion for second-hand use. Or you can even auction off really high-quality and high-value pieces for charity and nonprofit. Next, you can also ask brands about how best to take care of their clothes. They also offer tips on how they produce and source and how they are committed to sustainability. You can also let brands know when you are not happy with their practices and help encourage them to move towards sustainable production. In becoming a conscious and responsible consumer through the power of your decision-making, you can and will help the environment and society in significant ways. Next, for stuff on the Anatomy of Action is ditching disposables. Now, this really ultimately means refusing everyday products which cannot be reused. Now, all over the world, our daily lives are overwhelmed with single-use products and plastics, from packaging to beverage cups and bags, things that can easily be reusable and are now destined for the landfill or the dump site. Now, most people don't know that out of all the plastics ever produced, 50% have been single-use, used just once, and then thrown away. Now, single-use or disposable products are not just hazardous for the environment, but also costly to remove and extremely difficult to recycle, if they can even be recycled when they're recovered. Now, by ditching disposables in whatever way you can, you are supporting the global movement to go #0waste and sending signals to producers and stores that we don't want plastic in our ocean and littering our communities, streets, villages, and homes. Now, from personal beverage containers to shopping in bulk and even making your own cleaning products, there are hundreds of micro actions you can take to support the global trend towards a post-disposable future. Some tips from the Anatomy of Action are: 1. Swap daily disposables such as straws, plastic bags, coffee cups, takeout food containers, forks, razors, sanitary products 4, reusable alternatives, and you can save money in the long run. For example, just by switching from disposable water bottles to a reusable tumbler, you can already prevent at least, almost, or even more than 1,000 plastic bottles from entering the environment each year. Imagine the money that you can save there too. Another tip from the Anatomy of Action: continue or start to buy at bulk food stores or zero waste stores and bring your own containers and bag to take products home in. Now, it doesn't even actually have to be a zero waste or refillable store. Even at regular supermarkets and grocery stores, we've already made it a habit at home to bring our own containers, even for produce itself, so that we don't even have to put it in the plastic bags that they give in the supermarkets itself. Next, carry your own water vessel for water or hot drinks. Actually, not just that, I even bring my own utensils, straws, but straws aren't always necessary either, actually. You can actually just drink directly from the container as well. Another Anatomy of Action tip: rethink food storage to eliminate plastic baggies and wraps. Or you can swap to reusable containers or even beeswax wraps. Or avoid waste to avoid having to bring anything home. You can also be cleaner and greener. From your toothpaste to household cleaning products, there are many natural, alternative, and often cheaper ways of getting things clean, such as baking soda, vinegar, lemon. There are many wonderful tips online, but of course, make sure to check verified sources. Another Anatomy of Action tip is to replace disposable hygiene products, such as diapers, sanitary pads, with reusable ones, like menstrual cups, reusable sanitary pads, or even reusable diapers. Now, it's also important to remember to consider ways to refill products, like cleaning and household liquids in bulk to reduce packaging, or you can actually buy in bigger bulk containers to reduce the amount of smaller individual packaging as well. And of course, use your consumer power wherever you shop, eat, and work to voice the change that you want to see and reduce disposability from our lives. The Anatomy of Action: move. So, from the Anatomy of Action stuff right over here, we are going to move on to the Anatomy of Action: move. Now, the 3 key areas of the Anatomy of Action: move are keep active, share your ride, and go cleaner. Now, let's begin with keep active. Now, this means to keep or take up walking and cycling to work and advocating for your government and local business to provide more sustainable and safer public transport options. Now, using your body to get around is great for a variety of reasons. It's cheap, clean, and good for your health, and its implementation often increases road safety. By just cycling to work, you reduce your chance of cancer by 45%. And cardiovascular disease by 46%. In many places around the world, walking and cycling are the norm, but more can be done to enhance infrastructure. Introducing sidewalks in a city can reduce serious traffic injuries by at least 25%. Now, personal car transportation contributes huge impacts to air pollution and to your carbon footprint, to our carbon footprint. So whenever you can, swap your car rides for human-powered transport options to help reduce these stats and to encourage a shift in the way we design cities and move around them. Now for some Anatomy of Action tips, here we go. 1, swap short drives for walks or bikes, or learn to rollerblade, skateboard, or scooter if you want a cooler way to get around. Another Anatomy of Action tip: give your productivity and personal wellness a boost by walking or cycling instead of taking short personal car rides. I personally love that myself, especially when traveling. Next, engage with green space and support urban conservation projects in your community by using public nature spaces for moving around, like using bike paths. Pre-check and choose routes for walkability. Give yourself extra time and get exercise. Increase your health and wellness and reduce your transport impact. Or you can even start a group of people commuting to work at the same time to make walking or biking or taking the bus if safety is a concern. Support local government initiatives to introduce better urban design, walkable cities, and mass public transport systems. And of course, next for Move, we can't forget, share your ride. Now, it is important for us to continue to opt for public and shared transport rather than driving, and of course, to advocate for better options and choices, especially in our respective countries. Now, why is sharing our ride so important? Now, it's true, sharing is caring, but not only does sharing rides reduce emissions, but it also saves money. For those that already do it, you already know this. Now, the World Health Organization estimates that 3.7 million people die each year as a result of outdoor air pollution. Now, the transport sector currently contributes 23% of all carbon dioxide emissions. And a way to reduce such emissions is by sharing transport rather than taking your car, or by taking public transport like trains, buses. And you not only lower your carbon footprint, but also invest in these services to keep them functioning by using them more. Hopefully, they won't just always be there, but they'll be even better. More Anatomy of Action tips? Join bike, scooter, or car share services if your city has them. Use public transport and give extra time to yourself to read a book, enjoy music, or meet someone new during travel. You can also join rideshare apps or start collaborative commuting with your neighbors, friends, or coworkers. And if available, consider intercity or intercountry rail services over short distance flights, depending on where you live, of course. Now, when using on-demand taxi services, opt for greener options because these are actually available in some places. And of course, ride sharing is always one of the best. And of course, when it comes to moving and of course the anatomy of action, it's important to look at going cleaner. Swap to options like electric vehicles, cleaner fuels, and fewer kilometers to reduce your transport footprint. Now, this is easier said than done, which is why, once again, what we mentioned about voting, lobbying for policies that will actually make these happen and provide the infrastructure for these is actually incredibly important. Now, moving on to why going cleaner is actually also very important. According to the Anatomy of Action, of course, we all have to get places, and the impact we have on climate change and air pollution is directly attributed to our transport choices. Now, we can opt to drive less, share our ride, and swap to electric, but added benefits of reducing our car dependence is cost and time savings, along with better air quality, lower noise, and of course, less congestion issues. Globally, we are seeing a rise in electric vehicle use and charging stations. So now is a great time to find ways of swapping or transitioning to electric. Now, you can try a car out through leasing or car share service to see how easy electric can be, especially if this is something you're already looking for right now and shopping around for. If this is something in the distant future, well, you definitely have better options that will await you. Now, some tips from the Anatomy of Action. Explore all the options available to you for getting around and find which ones actually have the least impact. Now, there are ways of finding about that and, of course, computing that online. Adjust your routes so that you are going the least distance rather than thinking that you are actually traveling or saving time, but actually taking a further route or distance. Swap short distance drives for alternative modes of transport. You can actually look for and ask about flexible working options to reduce your commute, such as working from home, video conferencing, or later start times even. Now, see if there are leasing services where you can give an electric car or bike a try. There are different companies and brands that actually do offer this as well. And of course, super duper important, swap your fossil fuel car for an electric one. Use cleaner fuel when you can, and support government or business initiatives that provide alternative fuel and cleaner transport options for your community. The Anatomy of Action, money. Now, we discussed stuff, move, and now it's time to move on to money. Now, the three key actions of the Anatomy of Action Money are ethical investing, divestment, and energy positive homes. Now, let's begin with energy positive homes. Now, this means to enhance our comfort, save energy and money by adapting our homes and our habits to be more efficient. Now, why is having an energy efficient or energy positive home so important? Now, sustainable constructive modes, appliances, and behaviors at home can dramatically reduce emissions and promote climate change mitigation. Energy efficiency and renewables can also save us a lot of money, generate utility savings over time, and increase the value of your property. Making your home more sustainable can also help support the local economy and can increase your level of comfort by enhancing the quality of your life. Now, swapping to renewable energy supply by changing the energy providers is another step towards sustainable energy, but most of the savings can be attained through small technical interventions into the home to ensure that it is well insulated against hot and cold weather. One Anatomy of Action tip is to find ways to save on your energy bill via do-it-yourself or professional audit of energy used, saved, and lost in your home, and of course, making simple changes based on what you find out. Another tip is to regulate home temperatures better by adding verandas, green roofs, high inertial walls, and bio-based insulation. Another Anatomy of Action tip is to adapt to the season. Stay comfortable and save energy. Wear a sweater, draw blinds in summer, but of course, this depends on where we live in the world or which part of the country you are in as well. Now, you can also take simple steps by sealing windows and doorsteps or doorways, hallways, avoiding thermic bridges, installing double glass glazing, using LED bulbs, and investing in high inertia radiators. Another Anatomy of Action tip is, of course, to change habits. Open the curtains for natural light. Sometimes there may be a tendency to keep it closed for aesthetic purposes or whatever reason, but actually opening them up is not only also better for your mental health, but also great for natural light. And of course, close shades in hot climates. You can also cover pans when boiling. Yes, that also helps. And of course, spend less time in the shower for many different reasons. And of course, compost organics. You can also produce your own energy by installing a small-scale solar installation to power your home. And for a nonprofit organization, for us, this is actually an incredible gift that we actually are able to give to communities that are off the grid, most especially for children that need an education and need light and power even at night. Another tip from Anatomy of Action is to collect rainwater and reuse it for gardening, for toilets, and of course, even for washing machines. And of course, use appliances as intended, or consider buying more energy and water efficient appliances when replacing them, or if you're looking for some new ones right now. You can also compare available energy providers and choose a more sustainable one. Super duper duper big tip, renewable energy. And there are a lot of options already popping up in different areas, in different countries, and in different cities. So this is always something that you should put as a number one choice if it is available and is already there. For the Anatomy of Action money, another key action that can be taken is divestment, which means to actively swap your financial institutions or services to more sustainable options, why we actually even have this series today. Now, why is divestment so important? Now, divestment is when people move away from industries and commercial activities that are unsustainable and instead choose investments, banks, energy providers, and other companies that are supporting renewable options, sustainable consumption and production, and industry development. Now, as more and more people do this, it sends a message to companies to consider their business models and actions to support renewable energy, sustainable technologies, and more responsible products. Now, some anatomy of action tips for money are: move your money. Ask your bank how they invest your money. If it is in fossil fuels or other unsustainable industries, such as weapons, tobacco, or more, then move banks and tell your bank why you did so. Next, if you have a retirement fund, you could be inadvertently investing in unsustainable industries. So if that's the case, ask your fund manager to move to a more responsible fund. For investments in stocks, bonds, and funds, you can avoid investing in companies you believe are harmful and choose to invest in those that support more sustainable efforts. Another way of doing sustainable divestment is to swap your energy provider to a non-fossil fuel-based provider or support collective or community-run wind and solar farms. And of course, divest from fossil fuels or unethical companies. There are such companies around the world called B corporations as well, which really invest in being sustainable and ethical in every way, even in how their employees get to work. So it's pretty incredible. So do your research, do background checks, and make sure that you are supporting the companies and the groups that are truly, truly close to your heart as well, close to your mission. And of course, for the anatomy of action money, one of the most important things we can talk about and key actions that you can take is ethical investing. To use your principles to guide investing and consider socially and environmentally responsible actions. Now, why is ethical investing so important? Well, if you're not investing responsibly, then essentially you're investing irresponsibly. Everything we spend money on has an impact on people and the planet. So when you are deciding on big or small purchases of products, services, investments, you can influence the types of goods and services you want to see more of in the future. You have the power as an individual to choose what your money supports and what not to support. Now, this goes for both the purchase of goods and services, as well as your investments in stocks and bonds. Investing in the future is not just about what stocks you may purchase, but also about the companies you invest in every time you consume something, every time you use a product each day, whether you eat anything or put it on your body. Now, opting for financial planning that considers your economic impacts and where you make ethically motivated choices can support both your family and your community. Choosing to invest a bit more in locally produced goods and services, I'm pointing to my earrings right now, can have really strong positive economic outcomes as it injects cash into your local community. Now, some anatomy of action tips for ethical investing. Spend time and money on things that have positive impacts. Decide on your priority social and environmental issues and invest or donate accordingly. Ask your bank about their sustainable investment policy, and if they don't have one, then swap banks. Speak up and voice your preference for sustainable investments. Look at long-term drivers that affect company performance. Invest in goods and services produced in sustainable ways. Never invest in products made from endangered wildlife. Invest in a diversified portfolio. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Put savings in responsible stocks and investments, including pensions and banks. Pay taxes to help build your community. And advance your family financial skills and financial management to avoid getting into or to start to get out of debt. Sustainable banking tips from BPI Asset Management. Now, we just discussed the anatomy of action beginning with stuff, move, and money. Now, speaking of ethical investing and, of course, money, I have some wonderful, awesome, realistic tips from BPI Asset Management that we can all take part in right now, today, especially if this is something you're already looking for. Now, one of the main tips that we can give when it comes to sustainable banking, no matter what, is to choose mobile banking versus going directly to the branch, because by performing your banking transactions online, you can save both time and money that would have been spent traveling to the branch and, of course, lining up to perform your transaction. Now, nowadays, a lot of banks already offer mobile banking services, so take advantage of that. And of course, BPI is one of those amazing banks doing just that. Now, the amount of money that you can save by choosing mobile banking can be around 300 to 700 pesos, depending on your location. Now, this might even be higher now, considering the sharp rise in the price of oil due to major market movements. And of course, another sustainable banking tip, choose paperless. Now, for any transaction that would give you a choice between printing paper or just getting a digital copy, always go digital as often as you can or every time you can, if necessary, and of course, if that is the best option. Now, need your monthly bank statements? Ask your bank to convert them to e-statements instead. Now, choosing digital means fewer paper consumption and lessened waste. And now that you are able to save this money, you can pool this fund together and use them for more worthy pursuits, such as personal development, donating to a charity of your choice or a nonprofit, or simply adding them to your investments. Sustainable investments, that is. You can use this money to invest in sustainably sound funds, such as the BPI Invest Sustainable Fund Suite. Now, this is a first in the country, and the funds invest in companies that seek to address sustainability issues such as climate change, renewable energy, resource efficiency, inequality, and other key sustainability goals such as the United Nations SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals, all while seeking to deliver long-term financial returns to you, to your community. Now, this is exactly what we were talking about earlier, and why, of course, the BPI Invest Sustainable Fund Suite is so special, meaningful, and empowering for us all. Now, to learn more, visit the link here on your screen, or of course, you can search for more about this online on the official website of BPI Asset Management. Just search for BPI Invest Sustainable Fund Suite. Now, are you really ready to embrace the sustainable movement? Aside from mobile banking, you can also start by going green with your investments. Yes, that is possible with the all-new digital investment account opening feature from BPI. Now, using your BPI mobile app, simply tap on Start Investing or visit the link bpimanagedfunds.com/start-investing. Now, here's a pro tip. You can begin investing for as low as 5,000 pesos for mutual funds and 10,000 pesos only for unit investment trust funds. And you can also automate your investments through the regular subscription plan. Now, by automatically setting aside funds from your BPI account to your investment fund, you are not just investing in your future, you are also lessening your carbon footprint and contributing to a greener world. And that's about all the time we have for episode 2, featuring the anatomy of actions, stuff, move, and money. Will be moving on to the next 2 topics, food and fun, in the next episode. But before we go, just one final reminder and reflection that every move we make matters in the great web of life. And each and every day, we are all given the immense power and opportunity to create a better world with every single decision that we make. The choices that we make and the actions that we take truly have a ripple effect on the world around us. And it is up to us to decide if that ripple effect will be positive or negative. With small changes to our daily consumption habits, we can already make a world of a difference. Truly, it is the little meaningful changes that count the most when we do them together. I hope you had fun learning about the sustainable ways we can also save money, and we hope to see you for episode 3 as we complete the anatomy of action, where we shall talk about food and fun and how to truly be invested in you. Now, all this and more in the next episode of my #Invested in You Sustainability series with BPI Asset Management. Please watch out for updates on my social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. My username is @AntoinetteToss. You can also listen to this series as a podcast on Spotify. Just search for BPI Asset Management's Wealth Radio channel. Now, if you would like to join any of our volunteer activities like coastal cleanups, mangrove planting, or humanitarian missions at Cora, please visit our website, www.wearecora.org. And you can also follow us on social media @WeAreCora and @PlanetCora. This has been Antoinette Toss, truly honored and grateful to have shared these meaningful moments with each and every one of you. Believe it because it's true. The world is a better place because of you. Until next time, Planeteers, never ever forget, the power is yours to make a difference.